I've tried hard to make this work, but I can't do it anymore. Unless she does something huge to show her committal to our marriage, I will start the divorce process. It all started a year and a half ago. She had been a housewife for a decade. She wanted to pay off our house faster, so she got a job delivering pizzas. She was open about everything that happened there. It was a small pizzeria, so I met her coworkers. She had them over for dinner. Last year, she talked me into letting one of them rent a room from us. She would make extra money. He would live in a better place. I knew him. It seemed like a win-win. I didn't think it would be a problem because my wife had shown herself to be trustworthy across our whole marriage, all 17 years of it. She's also nearing 50 and he's in his late 20s. He also is an immigrant saving up to bring his wife over. After 5 months, my wife suddenly moved out of the bedroom. She was sleeping in our spare room. That itself isn't suspicious. We prefer sleeping in different temperatures, and my work shifts have me sleeping at odd hours. So we've slept in different rooms before. After a few days, I came home for lunch. My wife sat me down and said we had to talk. She told me that during the morning, our daughter, 12 years old, caught them kissing in the kitchen. I asked her if she had slept with him. She said yes. I told her I loved her very much, and that there's something important in our marriage if we've been together for 17 years. She agreed to go to counseling with me. He moved out immediately, and we started marriage counseling. She hated it and cried hysterically after each session. The counselor seemed off and didn't seem to understand what she was doing. I switched to a different counselor, and he was great. But my wife refused to have more counseling. She hated the first one and refused to give someone else a try. So I attended alone with the other one a half dozen times. This whole time, she refused to quit her job. I asked her, explaining that I'm not jealous or suspicious. I just fear continuing to work with him will prevent us from reconnecting and healing. She got angry and refused. She almost threw her phone at him, telling me to check her texting history if I don't trust her. She never quit. After a few months, we never seemed to move on or get back together. A cloud seemed to hang over us, and I lived constantly with the uncertainty of our future. With my counselor's help, I kept proposing ideas to help us heal. One was to go on a vacation with just the two of us. She refused. By November, I was thinking I might have exhausted all my options to heal. Me and my counselor agreed we couldn't do more together. I think he was hinting I should divorce. My father suggested to wait until after Christmas so I wouldn't put a dark cloud over the holiday. While this was happening, I snooped through her dresser in the spare room where she was sleeping. I found a small stash of lingerie. It's not new, but she specifically moved it there. For the past few years, she hated wearing lingerie. I kept an eye on it, and it never moved. The exact position of each bra and panty was the same, so I'm confident. She didn't even move it. I also snooped through her text history and didn't see anything suspicious. I kept an eye on it. It stayed motionless so long I almost stopped checking it. At the end of November, she left for some errands. I decided to check her dresser again and saw the lingerie was missing. Sometime after she returned, I checked the dresser and the lingerie was back. Around this time, I checked her text messages. Her entire history with him has been deleted. She didn't delete anyone else's. November to December. I thought a lot about divorce. I knew it was likely, but I wanted to make sure I didn't do the wrong thing. We have a daughter. We get along so well, and it will be hard to meet someone with her traits again. 17 years. Maybe I was just working up the courage to leave her. At New Year's, the other man went back to his home country. She drove him to the airport and kept his car here. A few days later, she told me she thinks he wasn't actually on vacation, but to stay. She told me suspicious things he said, but as she talked, the things became strong and more obvious. So obvious it looked like she knew he was staying but was faking, just figuring it out. I checked her phone again, and she had redeleted her entire text history with him. Again. This week, she said his wife found out about the affair. My wife had tried communicating with him, and his wife told her never to contact them again. I offered to email him to arrange disposal of his car, but she ignored me. Yesterday, she told me she had tried multiple times to contact him, and his wife texted and emailed her angry words and emojis. She doesn't seem to get it that she should stop. That was the final push for me. Not only does she not respect me, she doesn't respect his wife either. She seems to have no intention to stop her relationship with him and has done some highly suspicious things. I'm done. Not only have I tried everything to try and fix our marriage, No, only have I been trying. So hard to be a good husband before the affair, cleaning, help with our child, fixing things, touching without sex, and more. But I'm also done feeling this way. I've felt shock and fear. I frequently break out crying. I can never understand why she would cheat, keep cheating, hide things, and not try like hell to fix something she does value. I often break out shouting, "Why did you do it?" Or, "Why can't you just love me?" I'm sick of feeling this way. At one point, I considered just staying in marriage without sex or love because there's so much good in our relationship and we still get along really well. But I've come to see that I'll never move on if I live with her. The misery is invisible, but ever present. I have to divorce to move on. I can't keep living with this anxiety and uncertainty. It's selfish and wrong of her to put me in this position. I want out. At least I've accomplished one thing, knowing I've done everything I can to save this once wonderful marriage. I thought of divorce once she confessed, but I didn't want to regret it years later. Now I don't think I will. Update, Jan. 15. The next day I talked with her about divorce. I told I love her and always will, but that I can't keep living the way I've been. We're not healing, and after this much time I don't think we will. I said we need to end our marriage. She agreed. She said she doesn't feel like we're healing, either. She said that she's not getting an emotional connection that she needs and that it's something that she struggled with for a long time, long before she met her affair partner. To be honest, something felt off for a long time. I had tried harder to be a good husband, but by myself it wasn't enough. She has no idea what I'm not giving her. I think she really could have benefited from counseling and maybe CBT. It's possible I'm giving her everything she needs, but she just has some dysfunctional mindsets that's keeping her dissatisfied with life, which then interferes with her from having a happy relationship. I am certain therapy could have helped, but it's too late for that now. A few years ago, I tried to get her to counseling, but she refused. We talked about where we go from here. We don't have fixed plans yet, but we're thinking of leaving. Her the house, and I keep our savings. Those are roughly equal to our home equity. I proposed 50-50 parenting time without daughter, and she didn't object. However, I will have to consider how that could be affected by my work schedule. I work both days and nights. Although she's a nearly 13-year-old with no special needs, she should be able to get up in the morning and go to school without my help. It's really only the mornings that I won't be able to see her. I'll have to pay child support. It's mandated by the government based on a formula, so we don't have any discretion. My wife says she understands she's the one who caused this, so she will not press for spousal support. That's huge. I'm grateful for that. I make good money, but child support plus meaningful spousal support would seriously hurt my livelihood. I haven't broached the subject of my pension yet, but in light of everything else, I'm optimistic. We don't have details or commitments yet, but it's only a day into our decision. We will need time to work out the details, meet a lawyer, and get the process moving. This is hard, but so much better that it's amicable. A lot of you guys have posted hate for her and pushed me to do things like surprise her with paperwork, try for full custody of our daughter, etc. You read about something awful, then get a justice boner at the thought of her getting punished. I get it. She did something terrible. But going to war isn't going to make things better. I simply have no chance at full custody or keeping all the assets. A legal battle will cost tens of thousands to only end up with a deal that's worse than what she's offering me. Then there's months to years of stress, anger, and conflict that would hurt our child above all. And the only ones who would come out better would be the lawyers. Screw lawyers. Also, I just would rather not be angry. I just feel better being at peace. With our child, we'll have to work together even after a divorce, so we might as well get along. I've seen plenty of other people constantly quarrel over their kids. They're always frustrated, miserable people. I don't want to be like that. I don't feel happy yet. I feel sad, scared, and sometimes sick to my stomach. Sometimes I second-guess this decision, but it's obviously the right one. Divorce may be analogous to ripping off a Band-Aid, but I guess it still feels bad because divorce is a process, not a single instantaneous action. I hope things get better. Edit. January 23rd. Some users have messaged me for another update. There's not much to add, but here it is. Since decided to split, she's been looking for new places for me. Seriously. She looks at houses for sale and shoos me good ones as if we were moving together. She's been looking for work too. Once she said, "What are we doing?" as if it was crazy for us to split. She asked me if I really want to do this. So I'm getting mixed signals as to whether or not she actually wants to divorce. She also restated that she will not see a therapist. She needs to. I love her still, but I can't live like this. I can reconcile or divorce, but I can't fence sit. It's been hanging over me for months. I need to move on from this, and if she's not going to change, then leaving is my only option, no matter how much it hurts. I'm getting a lawyer this week. Last week I was crazy busy. Hopefully getting legal action moving will help me. At least I know I'm taking control and moving. On.edit, March 8th. We've been getting along and living as if everything is fine, even though it's not. I've been looking at houses for sale and new cars. We've been sharing one vehicle, but that obviously can't go on any longer. Her behavior has been contradictory. For a while, she's acting happy and even once pointed out a good house for me. Other times, she's grouchy. She found a house she'd like, but it went off the market before she could see it. Since then, she made curt comments about other houses that would work for her. She hasn't been diligent about house hunting or looking for a better job. She wrote up a budget for herself and showed how she would be $1,000 short, even with my child support. I offered to pay an additional $500 spousal support, telling her that it's not hard for a part-time pizza driver to increase her own income by $500 to make up the difference. She grumbled and complained about that and changed the subject. I was hoping to just leave her the house so I could just walk away fast and easy, but it might not turn out that way. I might have to just outright demand we put our current house up for sale. A few weeks ago, I asked her bluntly if she continued to sleep with him after confessing to infidelity. She stared at a wall silently for 5 to 6 seconds and said she doesn't want to talk about the details of their sexual encounters. Not surprising at all. A little later, she asked me why I want to divorce. I mentioned her continuing to have sex with him. She didn't deny it, that after 6 to 8 there has been no improvement in our relationship, and I can't handle living in relationship limbo. She mentioned a few things and said she thinks the only thing we're lacking is sex. Did she not listen to me? Our problems are a lot more than a lack of sex. A few days ago, I found some writing she did about our divorce. She was weighing the pros and cons of divorce. The cons has loving me and loving life with me. The pros had setting me free and immediate sex. Huh? Is she planning something? I found a guide to a divorce without lawyers, so we can probably save a lot of money. On that part at least. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more amazing content.